You're such an asshole.
Asshole Consulting, go there if you have questions. And the old captain, your older brother, with elderly, brotherly, ass-kicking advice will give it to you. Young man writes, "Hello, Aaron. I'm currently unemployed, and I received a phone interview from a big corporate bank. They stated that I passed the phone interview, and they wanted to set up another in-person interview with the team manager. I was sent the address, and it was in a downtown office. I asked them about employee parking. They stated I would have to pay for parking, which is usually around $15 to $20 per day. The salary would have most likely been around $45,000 a year, but parking would have reduced it to about $40,000 without considering taxes. I turned down this job. I felt a huge multi-billion-dollar company should have a place for their employees to park, and why the fuck should I have to pay to work? There you go. Smart. This is called self-respect. Bravo. I don't mind paying for gas. Anyways, this was really the only job offer I have received, and I have some reserves along with my wife working to get her and I through this rough patch. Do you feel me turning down this job was a good decision? My wife makes about $1,800 per month, and I have reserves around $1,300 US dollars. A mortgage is about $1,052, and bills are around $400. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, this is thanks to gas and electric tariffs. So you guys can do it. You guys can make ends meet. And this, let's just address your finances right now and the position that you're in, so you understand psychologically where you should be. You are in the position of fuck you. You can hold out for better. Now, it's going to be somewhat unfair to your wife, but you guys can make it. And if you're constantly desperately trying to apply for jobs and taking anything that comes along, what you'll do is you'll pass up on the really good job that may be the third or fourth job offer because you just took that first one, which is lower pay. You're desperate. Now you got to commute like you had to do this, and now you got to pay for parking. They treat you like shit, etc., etc. You want to be in the position like, nah, I don't need it. Now you don't want to be arrogant or cocky either, but if it's not worth your time, it's not worth your time. This is a perfect example. I've told this story before, where I had a job offer in Rapid City. It was just barely worth it. It too was for $40,000. I'd have to move out of Minnesota, but I wanted to go to South Dakota. And then the guy got on my case after they gave me the job offer. They all of a sudden, it's this little piddly shit that has nothing to do with salary, like parking, where they're like, you know what? We saw when you walked in, you weren't really smiling that morning. It's like, yeah, because it was fucking 7 a.m. and I drove through a snowstorm to get there and I had 3 hours of sleep. And then we found out, we understand you want to teach dance classes, but we'd have to approve that if you're going to teach dance, because you could rap. I'm like, fuck you, get out of here. And then the guy, like, dead silence. Like, oh, well, it's all right. Just why? I'm like, no. You obviously think you are entitled to my personal life. And I understand you got so many desperate people, this is during the recession, that will do whatever the fuck you want. They'll not only let you into their personal life and say whether or not they can participate in extracurricular activities like teaching dance classes, not to mention say, you must be happy smiley the entire time, and we're going to have a Nazi agent with the Gestapo following you all around, and matter of fact, I like to fuck your wife, and if you have a daughter maybe and some children, I'm a pedophile, but you're going to let me fuck them too, and then maybe we'll let you have this $40,000 a year job. You know what? Fuck that. Fuck, you don't need to tolerate that bullshit. Why? Because you and your wife can make it. Okay? So, it's not just because you want to be like, that's not it. You're applying for every motherfucking job you can. You're also taking your skills and classes while you're applying for these jobs. So when the wife is away working, you're working too. But what you're doing is you're getting to the point where it's like, no, I'm going to hold out for a much better job. Because here's what's going to happen. If you don't hold out for a job that works for you, it's going to take a toll on you and your personal life and your romantic life with your wife. All of a sudden, you're not making that much money. You got to commute. You got some extra money coming in, but now you got to pay for all this. It's not really worth it. You're tired. Sounds like they're scuzzy. Sounds like they're going to be, if they're going to treat their employees like this, how is the actual job going to be? And what you got to do is basically ensure that you have a job that is so more fair, does work for you, so that when you're not commuting, you're not paying. So when you come back, you got more time to spend with your wife, and if you have kids, you are making good money. Now you and your wife's finances are a lot more stable. So it's worth holding out a little bit while longer to get something where they're not going to dick around with you. Come to downtown. And fuck, dude, you don't want to work downtown. Fuck downtown. Working downtown is bullshit for precisely the reason you point out here. You gotta park. And if you're in Canada, which I think you are, you gotta deal with fucking snow. I remember working in downtown Minneapolis for Norwest, but now it's called Wells Fargo. And we had to pay for parking too. And I remember all I could afford, I think I was working for some fucking like $32,000 a year. I had to park way the fuck, like a literal mile away and then walk all the way because that's all I could afford. And they wouldn't pay for parking, but they make everybody work downtown. Why the fuck are you making people work downtown? You want to know why? Because the corporate executives and the big time middle managers and we got to work downtown because we like having our, oh my goodness, we're professional. We're going to make everybody commute too. Yes. Well, because we're dicks. We're fucking pricks. We're more important. Our egos are more important than the literally thousands of family and tens of thousands of children whose parents they make commute and pay and suffer. So now there has been a movement out to the suburbs. That's been going on for decades now. You gotta, if you have a house, you got your mortgage, find a place around there. Find a place where you commute is I would almost place $10,000 a year on getting, like if you find a job for $30,000 and you can walk to work, fucking do it. Fucking do it. You don't have to pay for parking. You can walk to work or your commute is 5 minutes. That's awesome because that's so much more time you can spend on yourself and your wife and any would-be children you have. So fuck this downtown bullshit. Fuck paying for parking. And you did the exact same, you did the right thing. You turned that job down and then they like, and maybe you could have asked like, you know what? No, I want to be compensated for my time commuting and for parking. I mean, you could say, no, you're going to have to raise your salary. Or you could just say, no, I want parking in the building. I'm not commuting. Or I'm not going to pay for parking. Well, we don't do that. We're the big-ass billion-dollar corporate bank. And, well, fuck you. Have your big-ass billion, like Wells Fargo, where they just recently had all those millions of accounts that were fraudulent made. I mean, yeah, fine, good luck. Go have that. And then why is our turnover so high? I don't understand. We're the big multi-billion-dollar corporate bank. I was wondering your thoughts on companies that have employers pay for work. Companies that have the employees pay for work, I think is what you meant. And also your thoughts on companies using BS personality tests that range from up to 300 questions that take 15 to 20 minutes to fill out. Look, it's bullshit. But this is the real world reality of the labor market, okay? I am very picky. This is part of being a minimalist, where you're going to run into that all the time. You're going to run into personality tests. Are you an INTJ? Because I'm an ENTP. That fucking Briggs-Myers bullshit. And then they're going to take, are you trustworthy? They're going to make you take all these. Okay, that's it. That's the reality of the world. They got thousands of people applying for some job, desperate millennials with their college student loans. They get to be, they are the choosers. We are the bakers. Okay? They are the hot chick at the nightclub. They get to choose and bless them with their beauty. And then they get to make you jump through all the hoops. You want to know why they get to make you jump through all the hoops? Because even though you won't, there's 15 people that will. So there's how the real world should work, and then there's how the real world is. And because there's such a huge amount of underemployed, low labor force participation rates, I know the unemployment rates have gone down. That does not measure how many people would necessarily like to have a job. I know they define it that way, but people are just saying, fuck it, I'm going to go on welfare. So the corporations get to be very arrogant. They get to be very choosy. Employers get to be very haughty. And this is the game that you get to play. There is some benefit, though, or some hope, especially for the minimalists, which is what I recommend you do. But then also, I think the millennial generation, as much as I hate them, it's the baby boomer managerial class that has brought it upon themselves because they raised the millennials and Gen Xers, and especially the millennials. The millennials are lazy, incompetent fucks, and like saying, fuck you. I'm not going to work. I'm going to sit on my ass and play video games and watch porn. And what's great about that is corporations do need employees. They do. No matter how hot the chick is, she still needs a penis to fuck her. Right? So if in the end, I think it's going to bring balance back into the force, kind of analogizing it that way. Because the baby boomers have brought up the most entitled, spoiled, incompetent generation ever, the millennials. And the millennials are basically saying, no, it's not worth it. And for once, I agree with them. I can't imagine the baby boomers deserving a generation more than the millennials, because they're basically saying, no, I'm not commuting to work. No, you told me I could have and I am going to hold to it. And if not, well, you made all these social programs, so now I could go on welfare. Or your parents, your peers. I guarantee you there's a relationship in the world where there's a baby boomer boss trying to fill a position, entry level, with a millennial. And they're being incredibly arrogant and cocky, requiring master's degrees and certifications for an entry level position. And a millennial has applied for the job. They gave an offer. He said, fuck you, I'm not doing it. And now they're living at home with their parents. And that parents went to school with that baby boomer boss. Like, they don't realize that this is their Frankenstein monster they're dealing with that's coming back to attack them, or just basically not fulfilling the roles. So whereas you probably got a lot of desperate Gen Xers to apply, even some desperate millennials now, they're, okay, I mean, there's someone who probably sop this job up, no problem, but their lives are going to be miserable. And there's going to be high turnover. You're going to say, fuck it, I got another job somewhere else. Oh, fuck it, I'm going to go live on welfare. So the baby boomers have done it to themselves, and I do believe that that millennials will start to bring an element of sanity, or at least knock these women down a peg at the nightclub and say, no, we want work-life balance. No, I'm not paying for my parking. I'm going to pay you to be your slave. Fuck you. Nah, I'm going to go on welfare. Nah, I think I'll pull a Lester Burnham and work at the coffee shack next door and then just play video games and be a minimalist. And it's only going to be the sadist psychopaths that want to fucking do this work that are going to apply for the job. So anyway, that's what I recommend. Yeah, it's those bullshit personality. That's what you got to deal with for the here and now. But no, you make this work for you. Don't get where I did, where I was desperate for money because I needed to eat. I needed to pay rent and food and clothing and shelter. But then all of a sudden, all I did was go from one shitty job to the next, and that desperation just multiplies. So, anyway, best of luck to you. Toodles.